Sherman Panama Wolfpack Baseball play-by-play coverage on the Channel 98.9 Sports Stream at channel989.org. This broadcast is presented by J. Edwards Insurance in Panama and Jamestown, Mosher Carpeting in Clymer, Land Pro Equipment in Clymer and Falconer, Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, the Cornerstone Restaurant in Sherman, Clymer Hardware and Home Center.com, Triple E Manufacturing, TripleEMFG.com, Countertop Solutions, and by Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer, LictusOilAndPropane.com. And now let's head to the field for all the action of CSP Wolfpack Baseball play-by-play.
Good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome to the campus of Clymer Central School, where your CSP Wolfpack play host to the Frewsburg Bears today, a 1 versus 2 matchup, so a baseball matchup that we've been looking forward to for most of the year, and it should be a good game. It's a beautiful weather here, and we're happy to bring it to you on Channel 98.9 and Facebook Live. I'm Kyle Hinsdale, and I'm joined today by special guest Garrett Hinsdale. Welcome, Garrett, home for a week before you head to Italy for football, but glad you're here today.
Yeah, it should be fun, and I've been doing the baseball games down at Washington and Jefferson, so I get to come home and do my alma mater's baseball games, which should be fun. Get to do the whole week, and starts off with a good one here with the number 1 team in Frewsburg going against a good CSP team.
Yeah, CSP about 3 weeks ago lost to Frewsburg by a score, I believe, of 7-2. The game probably was closer than the score indicated, but overall, CSP played well over there. We got 5 strong innings out of sophomore Tate Catanese, and so we'll see if we can rebound and get ourselves a win. This would be Frewsburg's. They're undefeated in league, so this will be a big test for them. A really good crowd here today for Senior Day for the CSP Wolfpack seniors. And really looking forward to the game today. For starters, CSP is going to roll out Gabe Roth, our number 1 pitcher, is going to see the number 1 team in the league, and so it's only fitting that Gabe gets to start today. He's going to be backstopped by Grant Lictus behind the plate, Bryce Hinsdale at first, Trent Burchanowski at second, Austin White at short, and Tate Catanese is going to be manning the hot corner at third. And then in the outfield, we've got Dylan Michael in left field, Blake Kopta in center, and Caden Beckrink in right field for the CSP defense today. Anything specifically, Garrett, that you're going to be looking for as CSP looks to get off to a early start? I think Frewsburg's not been down much at all this year.
That's actually my first point. Is Frewsburg was down 1-0 to Maple Grove in their game last week, where Hagelin was a starter, who CSP will see today. But so if CSP can jump on these guys early, maybe put some pressure on them. They really haven't been in situations like that, and that's what their head coach said in the paper. They haven't really been in situations where they had to come back, and they ended up winning that game against Maple Grove 5-4. So, they've played some close games over the past week, and it'll be important for Gabe to, establish the strike zone early, pound the strike zone, and get these Frewsburg hitters to put the ball in play. Gabe's going to get his strikeouts, so you just got to force them to stay off the base pass with the base on ball, and that's what Gabe needs to really focus on today.
And I would say, Garrett, that one of the characteristics of not only last year's CSP team but also this year's team is that we are good defensively.
Yeah.
So if Frewsburg is, you don't need to go up there thinking you're going to strike everybody out. Frewsburg's got good hitters. Allow your defense to play and do what it's been doing all year.
No, that's right, and I think you bring up a good point. How good they were defensively last year. It's basically the same infield this year. So make these guys hitters. Don't give them free bases here.
All right, so with the first pitch of the game, that's going to be low and outside for ball 1. So Chase Hagelin, leadoff hitter for the Frewsburg Bears. He's also starting, as Garrett mentioned, starting pitcher for today. And that ball is going to be fouled, so that's going to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Frewsburg's on a 12-game win streak here since they came back from their spring break trip in Myrtle Beach. So they've been hot and they've stayed hot, but they've played in some close games as Gabe gets a breaking ball in there for a strike as well.
Yeah, this is, you look at the records of the teams, you can tell that Frewsburg, this is game 18 for the Frewsburg Bears. Come into the contest with a 15-2 record, 12-0 in the league. In comparison, CSP comes in at 11-3, so they've played 14 games and have a league record of 10 wins and 2 losses. So since we last updated you, we've had 2 balls, so this is a full count here to Hagelin to start off the game. And that ball looked like it might have been high, so first pitch or first hitter walk. So Frewsburg gets their first base runner of the game, and that's going to bring to the plate Peyton Dustin.
Yeah,
trying to read my own writing, Garrett.
Yeah, just not the way that Gabe wanted to start this game off, but you just got to focus on the batter now. And hopefully he can get a ground ball here as he tries another pickoff attempt, unsuccessful.
And Frewsburg is aggressive on the base pads, particularly at the top of their order, top of their lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hagelin running here.
And that was very, very close. Hagelin's getting a big lead. And it kind of helps when your first baseman's also left-handed, so it's easier to get the tag down. So Gabe has that quick pickoff move, but he's got to be careful it doesn't go over. That one's missed bunt.
Yeah, that was so Frewsburg trying to play small ball here early by taking their number 2 hitter and trying to bunt Hagelin over to second. And he was unsuccessful on that first attempt. So,
that was very, very close there.
Yeah. So it's going to be no balls and 1 strike to the hitter, Dustin.
And when you have a good hitter in your 3-hole, as Garrett Brink is very good, you can kind of play small ball like this if they want. That ball's fouled back.
So Gabe ahead early, no balls and 2 strikes to the number 2 hitter, trying to get himself out of a jam after a leadoff walk.
What Frewsburg does well is they mess with the pitcher, especially when they're on the base paths. They like to move back and forth, jump back and forth, really get you thinking about whether they're going to take an extra base or not. As you can see on the live stream there, he's taking a step to his right, coming back.
Man, there's a ball high. That's 1 ball, 2 strikes to Dustin, playing center field for the Bears today. And that ball is going to be fouled down first base side here, over on the tennis courts. So count remains at 1-2. Beautiful day here in Clymer, New York. Nice little breeze. You can probably hear in the microphones. There's a swing and a miss for strikeout number 1 and out number 1 of the inning. So much needed strikeout for Gabe Roth, and that's going to bring their number 3 hitter, Garrett Brink, to the plate.
Yeah, nice breaking ball there by Gabe. He had a 1-2 count, was ahead the entire time. Didn't shy away from that breaking ball, and another pickoff attempt.
A lot of attention being paid to Hagelin here.
Well, and that's what he does. He's trying to draw that attention, maybe an overthrow, bad throw by the pitcher, or a misplay by the first baseman. And you just can't have those type of errors when you're playing a good team like Frewsburg. So CSP does have to be careful with that.
And there's a first pitch strike to Brink.
It's very important, especially with a good hitter like Brink, to get ahead in the count very early, and that's what Gabe does here.
There's a curveball that confused buckled Brink, and that was in for a strike. So second straight batter where Gabe is up 0-2. See if he can get a repeat performance from the strikeout he had last batter. Ball high and outside, so good spot for that to make it 1-2.
Yeah, not a bad pitch there. You don't want to give a good hitter a meatball right down the middle for them to hit on an 0-2 count. So gets him thinking now with a 1-2, could come back with a breaking ball or keep him with the fastball. Another pickoff. Gabe seems to think he's getting him here, and it is very close.
Yeah, it's close, but he's definitely gotten in each and every time.
Yeah.
My concern, Garrett, is that eventually those balls, there's a swing and a foul tip so Brink stays alive, 1 ball and 2 strikes. In high school, whether you're trying to pick off somebody at first, really any base, trying to pick somebody off, at times there can be a high likelihood that it's going to get past the infielder. And there's a ground ball to second. This might be 2, Garrett, and there it is. So a tag, the runner from first, and throw him out at first base, and that's a double play for the Wolfpack. So CSP gets out of a top of the first jam with a leadoff walk, and after a half inning, it's CSP 0, Frewsburg 0. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
In baseball, these are the moments that bring us to our feet.
But the most important moment happens when we all stand together.
United for a great cause.
So join Major League Baseball and stand up to cancer
as we stand in honor of all loved ones affected by this disease.
I'm Jordana Brewster.
I'm Candace Patton.
Joe Manganello.
I'm Matt Damon. And cancer has in some way touched all of us.
Visit standuptocancer.org/MLB.
Stand up with us.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Welcome back to CSP Wolfpack Baseball here on Channel 98.9, and we're happy to bring to you live from Clymer, New York, CSP versus the Frewsburg Bears. And Frewsburg went 1-2-3 in an unconventional way back in the top of the first, with CSP issuing a leadoff walk and then turning the double play. And so CSP is going to come to the plate here in the bottom of the first, and they're going to face number 3, Chase Haglund for the Frewsburg Bears. Traditional lineup for the Wolfpack today with Austin White in the leadoff spot. So it's going to be 1-2-3, which is Austin White, Bryce Hinsdale, and Gabe Roth getting at bats here in this inning. And we talked about it in the pregame, Garrett. It's important that CSP try to get some runs early here.
Yeah, if they can jump on Frewsburg, get them, have some pressure on them, and getting out of that inning with no runs and getting a double play, that's a huge motivation boost for a lot of for the team just in general. So one thing that you do have to look after here is that Chase Hagelin, last time out he was a part of a combined no-hitter. So he's one of their better pitchers, and we also know Garrett Brink's a good pitcher, so I believe he's available tonight too. So we might see Hagelin and Brink if this game is close along the way.
Yeah, there's a foul ball down the third base line, so it's going to be 1 ball and 1 strike to the senior Austin White from Clymer. Two games ago over in Westfield, Austin led off the game with a home run over the fence to right field. We could use one of those today for sure. And there's a ground ball down the third base side that's foul. So 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Looks like the traditional pitches for Hagelin. Throws a fastball and also a breaking ball, and probably will mix up a changeup in there at some point. So Austin's got to be ready here on 2-2. Could be anything.
And there's a base hit for Austin White. So CSP, just as Frewsburg hits the leadoff man on, and that's going to bring Bryce Hinsdale to the plate. Another lefty, 2 lefties in a row here for Hagelin, but good piece of hitting there for Austin. And now we've got some speed on the bases, and see if we can knock them around. We'll see, Garrett, how if Coach Moreno wants to play small ball and bunt Bryce and get Austin to second, or how he wants to play it.
Well, he's done that a couple times this year, so I'll be interested to see. Austin's got a big lead like Hagelin does, and Bryce does square but doesn't get it down.
So that's going to be strike 1 to Bryce.
And when you're in games against good teams like this, you always got to get runners in scoring position, and bunting Austin over would be a way to do that.
Bryce squares to bunt and pulls back for ball 1, so 1 ball and 1 strike. And that ball's in the dirt. That's going to get by the catcher today, who is Mason Ekman. That got by him and back to the fence. I don't think Austin could see it, Garrett.
Well, you could hear his dad over on first base yelling at him. He just didn't get a good read on it, and he easily could have taken second there with his speed.
Yep, that ball pops up and drops. So Bryce caught a break there, and CSP caught a break there, because that ball probably should have been caught by multiple people.
Well, yeah, one of the lost arts in baseball is bunting, and I played on teams with Coach Newton, and we used to bunt all the time. Coach Bob Newton, we'd bunt all the time, and the major leagues, the majors, people have trouble putting the ball down on a bunt, and so do the kids in college. So it's kind of a lost art.
And there's strike 3 looking, and there's Austin, and he's going to get thrown out. So we got a strikeout, throw-out situation here in the bottom of the first. And we immediately have 2 outs here for the Wolfpack after the leadoff single.
Well, I'm not sure if there was a hit and run called there, but if there was, that's just a missed sign by Bryce, because that ball was right down the middle. If he gets contact on that ball, Austin could have easily scored from first if that ball gets to the outfield, but maybe a miscommunication that we don't know about. But Austin was most definitely out at second. He just didn't get a great slide or a great jump, and strike him out, throw him out, and there's 2 away here.
There's a swing and a tip foul for Gabe Roth. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Both teams had a little bit of a double play in each half of the inning.
Yeah.
Kind of unique, Garrett. You don't see double plays all that often, but seen 2 today.
No, just it really does drain all of the momentum that you had, with the leadoff runner or leadoff batter getting on base. And looks like Frewsburg's is complaining about something with the umps not hearing something. Maybe it's a time called, or
I think maybe they wanted a tip ball, but either way, neither one of them got it called, so it's going to be 2 balls and 1 strike, I believe, to Roth.
Yeah, and the Frewsburg dugout's not very happy about it. Just saw Coach very animated about that, but got to take advantage of this now.
And there's a foul tip, so squares it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, no score. CSP with, there's a swing and a miss, so Gabe Roth goes down swinging. And just as Frewsburg went 1, 2, 3 in the top of the first, CSP does the same in the bottom. And after 1, there's no score. We'll be right back.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
This Wolfpack broadcast is brought to you in part by Cornerstone Restaurant and Bakery at 104 East Main Street in Sherman. The Cornerstone offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and baked goods. The phone number is 716-234-4002, or find them on Facebook. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks the Cornerstone in Sherman for their support.
Support for CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by Clymer Hardware and Home Center. Serving the Clymer area since 1873 with all your hardware needs at 8746 West Main Street and online at ClymerHardwareandHomeCenter.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack from Clymer Hardware and Home Center.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Welcome back to a scoreless tie here in Clymer, New York between the CSP Wolfpack and Frewsburg Bears, and we are going to start the top of the second inning. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Frewsburg Bears, so that's going to bring Mason Ekman to the plate to face CSP and Gabe Roth, and that first pitch is ball. Mason playing catcher today for the Frewsburg Bears. There's a big swing and a miss for strike 1, so 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, I do like how much Gabe is just pounding the strike zone here, getting ahead of the count. Obviously, he didn't get ahead in this last at-bat, but the 2 at-bats before he was getting ahead, and that's very important for the confidence of a pitcher, not just strategically within the game. It's more of a confidence boost if you can get that first strike on a batter.
Well, and it's so much easier as a pitcher, Garrett, to pitch when you're ahead.
Yeah.
And there's a strike right down the middle for 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Ball looked a little high to me, but nevertheless, you're going to take the calls that you get here.
Two balls and 2 strikes. And there's a slow roller to third. Tate Catanese comes up throwing, and that's going to be out number 1 of the inning. So nice defensive play there by the Wolfpack, and that's going to bring the number 5 hitter, Maddox Sheasley, to the plate.
Yeah, it was a nice play there by Tate. He was able to charge the ball and made a nice throw on it. And it's a pretty easy play over here for Bryce, and it's a big first out. Yeah, this first base coach does not like these calls that that Frewsburg's getting right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Last I checked, knees to letters were strikes. So
yeah,
and that's where those are. And there's strike number 2. So no balls and 2 strikes. Each umpire is has a different strike zone.
Right.
And my claim is, as a coach or as a broadcaster, Garrett, has always been, you can have your strike zone just make sure it's consistent between both teams. That way, as a pitcher and as a hitter, I know what's a strike and what's a ball.
That's right. And, something I found interesting, I was watching a Major League game last night, and they did an umping scouting report, and they showed the different zones and how hitter-friendly different umpires are. So it's different. Every umpire is different. They have different zones, and they have different ways of calling balls and strikes, and you just have to adapt within the game. That's why it's so important to establish yourself early on in the first inning and know where that strike zone is.
Oh, there's a strikeout for Gabe Roth, and out number 2 of the inning. So 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the second, and that's going to bring the number 6 hitter, Daniel Peterson, to the plate. Lefty playing right field for the Bears today.
Something I'm noticing, and me and my partner down at college, we noticed this as well. When a pitcher is really in their groove, and you can tell that day, it's when they're working fast. And I can tell right now Gabe is working fairly quickly. He's getting himself into a rhythm, and that's, if you're CSP, that's exactly what you want to see. That's when a pitcher could go, 5 to 6 innings and get you a big bulk of innings out of the way.
You must be good luck, Garrett, because you broadcasted W&J basketball, men's basketball, and they won the pack.
They won the pack regular season.
Yeah,
but they did not win the conference. Yeah.
And then the W&J baseball team won the pack as well.
This weekend. Yeah, it was fun down at school being able to do the broadcast of 2 really good teams with the men's and the women's basketball team and the baseball team. There's a couple kids from Buffalo up in our area that were some good players down for W&J on the baseball team, and it was exciting to see some good baseball the last few weeks.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Peterson, and he gets a piece foul, so Peterson stays alive and keeps the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Hopefully I bring that good luck up here.
Yeah, right. Vincent Sanfilippo on deck for Frewsburg. And there's a foul ball down the third base side. So Peterson's making Gabe work here. No score, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Nobody on. And I think there, Garrett, the batter attempted to try to call time, umpire did not give it to him, and that pitch was a strike for strikeout number 2 of the inning. So 1, 2, 3 inning again. So 6 up, 6 down for CSP and the Wolfpack versus the Bears, and after 1.5, we've got no score. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Coverage of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is brought to you in part by Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, a leading provider of new, heat-treated, and recycled pallets and wood services since 1993. Find them online at caflischpallet.com. Phone 716-355-4354. Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services wishes the Wolfpack the best of luck this season.
Welcome back to Clymer, New York, where CSP is taking on the Frewsburg Bears, and after 1.5 innings, we have a scoreless tie, and CSP is going to enter the bottom of the second, and we're going to see 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Wolfpack, which means Trent Burchanowski is going to lead off this inning, and there's a slow grounder to third. He comes up throwing, and Trent's going to beat out the throw. So infield hit for Trent Burchanowski, and that's the first hit of the second hit of the game for the Wolfpack, and that's going to bring number 5 hitter Tate Catanese to the plate.
Well, back-to-back innings now with leadoff hits, and that's such important for a team to get into the pitcher's head a little bit early here, and Trent was just able to use his speed to beat that one out.
There's a first pitch ball in the dirt to Tate. So 1 ball and no strikes. We'll see. Tate was not squaring to bunt there, Garrett. So we'll see. Maybe we can get a stolen base here. In high school, with the catchers that maybe don't have the biggest arms, or with pass balls, the chance of getting to second on one of those two versus a bunt is probably pretty close to the same.
Well, that's what makes Frewsburg so good, though, is that they have a catcher. We've already seen it today. They have a catcher behind the plate that can get the ball to second base at a high speed, and he blocks the ball as well. So that's why Frewsburg's been so good this year, is that they're keeping teams out of scoring position, and that's where they can get pressure put on them. And that's what one of the keys of the game was: get runners in scoring position, put some pressure on these Frewsburg pitchers, and make them feel uncomfortable, because they haven't been in a spot like this all year.
And there's a foul ball for Tate Catanese, and that's going to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes to the sophomore from Panama.
And Trent's getting a pretty sizable lead here,
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they send him again here on this 2-2 count. Looks like Tate called time, though. Going to get himself.
If nothing else, Garrett, you're looking for. And there's Tate looks at strike 3, so that is out number 1 of the inning. They tried to pick off Trent at first unsuccessfully. So 1 out here in the bottom of the second, and that's going to bring Grant Lictus to the plate. The ball outside for ball 1.
What I find interesting is the last 2 times that CSP has had a runner on first and the batter comes up after them, they aren't looking to swing on 2-2, and that's just a prime hitters count where they need to be able to put the ball in play at some point. Even if there is a steal on, you got to put the ball in play, force the defense to make a play. And the last 2 times CSP's had that opportunity, they haven't. So I'll be interested to see if they adjust here over the next few innings.
There's a big swing and a miss for Grant for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Trent really does have the attention of Hagelin over here, so
and it's a pretty good sized lead.
It's really, really big.
And there's bat on the ball, but foul down third base line. So Grant behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. CSP looking to not waste as a leadoff hit again here in the bottom of the second. And they just picked Trent off it. They just picked Trent off at first, Garrett, and Coach White is not happy with that.
Well, and here's my thing is, is Gabe had thrown over to Hagelin multiple times in the first inning, and he was called safe every time. And I really do think Trent was back there. And, you just kind of wish, that it didn't go against you. But sometimes you get calls that go against you, and there's a strikeout for Grant, and that's how quickly the inning can end right there.
Yeah, so CSP brings 6 batters to the plate through 2 innings and have 6 outs. And so does Frewsburg. So pitching duel here in Clymer as CSP and Frewsburg are knotted at 0 after 2. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Support for Wolfpack baseball coverage on the Channel 98.9 Sports Stream is provided by Countertop Solutions in Clymer. Go Wolfpack from Countertop Solutions.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Support for CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by Clymer Hardware and Home Center, serving the Clymer area since 1873 with all your hardware needs at 8746 West Main Street and online at clymerhardwareandhomecenter.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack from Clymer Hardware and Home Center.
Welcome back to the campus of Clymer Central School, where CSP and Frewsburg are knotted at 0 after 1.5 what are we in the bottom of the
top of the
third after 2 innings. So we're going to see 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Frewsburg Bears. Vincent Sanfilippo is going to lead it off, and he's going to face CSP starting pitcher Gabe Roth here in the third. Pitchers duel so far, both pitchers through 2 innings have faced the minimum in what I might consider unconventional ways, because CSP's got 2 hits. And there's a bunt down third base side. Tate Catanese comes up, and Bryce Hinsdale makes a good scoop at first, and that's going to be out number 1.
Yeah.
All right, we're back here after nice play by Tate Catanese with the bare hand on the bunt. And there's a swing and a miss to Harrison Eckert.
Yeah, nice pick by Bryce. He's got a 15-inch glove, it seems like, over there at first. So nice play and a nice bare hand play by Tate to be able to charge and get that. And then it's back-to-back innings where the first batter's out, and that's a huge confidence boost for Gabe. And you can see he's up 0-2 again on Eckert.
Number 8 hitter for the Bears. And there's 3 pitches, 3 strikes. So out number 2 of the inning, and that's going to bring Draven DeJesus to the plate. And although he bats in the number 9 spot, Garrett, he killed us over in Frewsburg out of this spot. So no light up from a hitting standpoint, 1-9 in this Frewsburg lineup.
Yeah, it's really tough, and that's, their record shows that, and how hard they are to get out 1 through 9, and you have to expect that from a team that's 11-0. So Gabe just has to keep on his game, stay in his rhythm, and he's here 1-1.
And there's a ground ball. It's going to get by everybody, and that's going to get to right field. So Bryce Hinsdale made a stab at it. Trent Burchanowski made a stab at it, and neither were successful. So that's a base hit to right field. Good job by Caden Beckering getting in front of that. So with 2 outs here in the top of the third, Frewsburg gets their first base runner, and that's going to bring the top of the order to the plate. Chase Haglin.
Yeah, it's first hit of the game for Frewsburg, so it was a good job by Gabe. It was just a tough play for both Bryce and Trent. It was kind of hit right in that gap, but he's just got to move past it and get Haglin here, who walked in the first.
Walked in the first and then was tagged out on his way from first to second in a double play. So 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's a nice curveball in for strike 2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter in the lineup for the Bears.
And you can tell these Frewsburg coaches are animated about how bad this zone is, from their point of view.
And there's a ground ball, and that's going to be a base hit to left field. And good job hitting the cutoff, and that's going to hold Haglin to a single. But Frewsburg, with 2 outs here in the top of the third, has got their first runner in scoring position for either team, as they have 2 outs with runners at first and second, and that's going to bring Peyton Dustin to the plate.
He struck out in the first inning. But going back to the base runner, yeah, they're getting contact on the ball with 2 outs, and that's how Frewsburg's been so good. Is they're 1 through 9, no matter how many outs there are left, they are always in position to put pressure on the pitcher, and that's what they're doing here with a little 2-out rally here from the 9 hitter and getting it back to the top of the order with Haglin, who's been a hot hitter of late. He went 4 for 4 against Maple Grove last week. So it's going to be important for Gabe here to get out of this with no runs.
That ball's outside, so I believe it's 2 balls and no strikes to the hitter. If you're playing infield for CSP, you're trying to knock the ball down at the very least. Anything to the outfield more than likely is going to score a run. And there's a ground ball to third, and Tate's going to step on the bag, and that's going to be out number 3. So CSP, after giving up a couple hits, the Frewsburg Bears strand 2, and after 2.5, there's no score. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Coverage of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is brought to you in part by Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, a leading provider of new, heat-treated, and recycled pallets and wood services since 1993. Find them online at caflischpallet.com. Phone 716-355-4354. Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services wishes the Wolfpack the best of luck this season.
Support for Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Mosher's Carpeting at 8631 East Main Street in Clymer. Mosher's has carpeting and all types of flooring, serving the area for over 27 years. Online at mosherscarpeting.com.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Welcome back to Wolfpack Baseball on Channel 98.9. I'm Kyle Hinsdale, joined by special guest today, Garrett Hinsdale, and we're excited to bring you CSP Wolfpack Baseball versus the Frewsburg Bears, a number 1 versus number 2 matchup here in CCAA West. And after 2.5 innings, we've got no score, and CSP is going to bring 7, 8, and 9 hitters to the plate. Dylan Michael no balls and 2 strikes, or I'm sorry, 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
Yeah, if you can get some momentum here with these 7, 8, and 9 hitters as Dylan strikes out swinging. If you can get one of these runners on, more than likely the top of the order will come up, and that's kind of what Frewsburg had going for him in the last inning, but we're unable to cash in. So we'll see if CSP can do that this inning.
So that's going to bring Blake Kopta to the plate. He's up there swinging at pitch number 1, and that ball is going to be foul for strike 1. So no balls and 1 strike to the senior from Clymer. And there's strike 2. So Hagelin working quickly and ahead. I would say, Garrett, just like you noticed that Gabe was in a groove and was moving at quite a good pace, I would say the same thing on Hagelin.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it in the top of the last inning, is how we're in kind of a pitcher's duel here, and it's kind of trending that way in this inning as well. It's just Hagelin is working very quickly. It's going to be important for the CSP hitters to not go down on 3 to 4 or 5 pitch at bats, so they got to make him work a little bit and try and get him out of his rhythm as much as possible.
There's a ball down the right field line, and that's going to drop foul. So that was not out of play, but it was not was not between the white lines. So
I definitely think that Peterson could have made a play over in right field if he maybe dove, but would have been a tough play nevertheless. But Blake stays alive.
And there he fouled down the third base side. So Blake making him work here in the bottom of the third. And that ball's low, so I think that counts 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yep, you'd be right, and Blake is having a very good at-bat here. He was down early in the count, and now he's evened it back to 2-2. He's got to keep his eyes open here. For anything. Could be any pitch.
And good job there. He wasn't fully committed to that swing, but he got bad on the ball, foul. So he stays alive, 2-2.
Well, it looked like a breaking ball from Hagelin, and Hagelin's got a lot of options at 2-2. You can either go fastball, off-speed, breaking ball. He's got a lot of options there, and if you're Blake and you get a breaking ball like that, all you got to do is slap it to right field, and I think if he was more committed on that swing, he may have been able to do that.
And there's a ball deep in the hole to short, and nice play there by Garrett Brink, and that's going to be out number 2 of the inning. So well hit ball to short, and Brink was deep in the hole, but he came up firing and was able to get the runner at first. So that's going to bring number 9 hitter Caden Beckerink to the plate with 2 outs here. Yeah. In the bottom of the third.
Yeah, that's never an easy play for a shortstop when you're deep in the hole like that and you got to throw off your back foot. I remember his brother Nolan playing against him. He used to do the same thing, so it kind of runs in the family here.
And there's a ground ball to second, and second baseman comes up throwing, and that's going to be out number 3. So
are you all right, buddy?
It looks like Caden may have
maybe twisted his ankle as he came running through.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a hole there behind first base, and that's probably what he stepped in. Hopefully he's okay and can
continue.
Head back out there. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so 1-2-3 inning there for CSP from a hitting standpoint, and after 3, it's scoreless. We'll be right back.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
In baseball, these are the moments that bring us to our feet.
But the most important moment happens when we all stand together.
United for a great cause.
So join Major League Baseball and stand up to cancer
as we stand in honor of all loved ones affected by this disease.
I'm Jordana Brewster.
I'm Candace Patton.
Joe Manganello.
I'm Matt Damon, and cancer has in some way touched all of us.
Visit standuptocancer.org/MLB.
Stand up with us.
Welcome back to CSP Baseball, where we have a scoreless game here in the top of the fourth. And CSP is going to see 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Frewsburg Bears, and that's going to bring Garrett Brink to the plate.
Yeah, Brink grounded into that double play to end the first inning, so he'll be looking to get on base here for Frewsburg.
Yeah, there's a ball high, so Gabe's down early, 2 balls and no strikes.
And that is what Garrett Brink wants to see. He wants to be up in the count. He's a very good hitter. He wants to be ahead as that ball's in there for a strike as Gabe's trying to fight back and get it even here.
2-1 to the first batter of the fourth inning. A scoreless game here between the number 1 team, Frewsburg Bears, and the number 2 team, CSP Wolfpack.
And going back to the counts, it's just a strategic chess match between the pitcher and the batter, and so you're going to want to take any advantage that you can as that ball is hit.
That ball is hit to center field, and Blake Copta is going to run underneath it for out number 1 of the inning. So Brink did a good job of getting bat on the ball, but hit it right to a defender, and there proves the point, Garrett, of, just let these guys be hitters and let your defense work behind you, and that's exactly what happened there.
Well, when Blake makes plays like that so nonchalantly, it really does, make you feel good that, you have a good defense behind you. But he's really smooth out there in center field.
So Mason Ekman comes to the plate, the number 4 hitter for the Bears, and he swings at pitch number 1, so he's down early. And there's a ball in the dirt. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Ekman.
But going back to the counts thing, it's just a different feeling when you're up in the count 2-1 and instead of being down 1-2, obviously. And it just a confidence thing when it comes to, the chess match that you have to go against the batter or going against the pitcher.
2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out here in the top of the fourth. No score. And there's a little pop-up, and Gabe's going to make that catch look fairly easy for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down here in the fourth inning, and that's going to bring Maddox Sheasley to the plate.
Yeah, good at bat there from Gabe. He was down 2-1 in the count, and looked like a fastball that just caught the inside and kind of jammed Ekman there a little bit. So Gabe is really just working efficiently here heading into the fourth.
That first pitch was a ball, so 1 ball, no strikes. And that ball is just on the outside part of the plate, so 2-0. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1, so Sheasley looking at ball 3. So 3 balls and 1 strike to the number 5 hitter for the Frewsburg Bears, looking to get their first base runner of the inning.
And if you're Gabe, you don't want to have to throw any extra pitches here in this inning. You already have 2 outs, and you had to do that in the last inning when Frewsburg had a little bit of a 2-out rally going on. They weren't able to cash in, but you want to avoid that here in this inning.
And there's a ball 4. So with 2 outs here in the 4th, Frewsburg gets their first base runner on a base on ball, and that's going to bring Daniel Peterson to the plate. Peterson, lefty, playing right field today.
And I'll be interested to see how Frewsburg plays this with 2 outs and see if they can get that runner in scoring position. Another massive lead for Sheasley, excuse me.
There's a pitch outside, so Gabe struggling a little bit here in the last 5 or 6 pitches to find the strike zone, so need him to find his rhythm again. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. So 1-1 to Peterson.
And you know, Sheasley can get this big lead and get a big secondary lead as they have a lefty on at the plate. So it's going to be a tough throw for Grant to even try a pickoff attempt over here at first on a secondary lead.
There's a foul tip for strike 2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. CSP with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th, no score. Looking to get out of a 2-out walk. That pitch is outside, so 2-2.
Gabe's got to make one more good pitch here. You don't want to leave something over the plate where something can get into the gap and maybe the runner can score from first. That one was very close.
Yeah.
Almost a really, really good pitch by Gabe.
So full count to Peterson. Sanfilippo on deck. Here's the payoff pitch. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So the Frewsburg Bears will strand 1. And after 3.5, we have no score. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
This Wolfpack broadcast is brought to you in part by Cornerstone Restaurant and Bakery at 104 East Main Street in Sherman. The Cornerstone offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and baked goods. The phone number is 716-234-4002, or find them on Facebook. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks the Cornerstone in Sherman for their support.
Support for CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by Clymer Hardware and Home Center. Serving the Clymer area since 1873 with all your hardware needs at 8746 West Main Street and online at ClymerHardwareandHomeCenter.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack from Clymer Hardware and Home Center.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Welcome back to a pitcher's duel here in Clymer, New York, where after 3.5 innings we have no score. And Chase Haglund for Frewsburg, Gabe Roth for CSP are putting on quite a show. And so as we start the bottom of the 4th, CSP is going to have 1, 2, 3 hitters. So that's Austin White's going to lead it off.
Austin was able to get on base in his first at-bat with a single, but he was caught stealing on a strike him out, throw him out here. So trying to avoid that and get on base.
Yeah, CSP with 2 hits, yet Haglund has faced the minimum.
Yeah.
through 3. Throw in a couple double plays, and that's what happens.
Yep.
And so no balls and one, or now I think it's 2 balls and 1 strike,
yep.
I think, to Austin White.
That's what I have, 2 balls and 1 strike. So hitters count.
Yeah, that ball is on the inside part of the plate for strike 2. So 2-2 to the leadoff hitter. And there's bat on the ball, but foul down third base line. So Austin stays alive. See if he can find a hole in this defense somewhere, just like he did back in the first inning. And there's a ground ball that's going to get by the first baseman. That is fair, and that is going to be a stand-up double for Austin White. And that was a shot right down the first base line, Garrett, and good way to start off this inning for CSP.
Well, you know, to be honest with you, this field in Clymer, that's got like a little back fence, and it got past it went on the right side of the foul, on the foul pole, and kind of got down in there. If Austin was a little faster, he might have been able to get there, get the third on a triple. It was really a well-hit ball, and just inside the first base bag, and now a prime RBI opportunity here for Bryce.
Yeah, my guess is he's bunting this guy over, Garrett, but maybe not. Nope, he didn't square to bunt, so
no, I
thought maybe Coach Moreno would try to get Austin to third.
Well, I think that Austin's going to score with a ball to the outfield, and I think that you know, anything on the right side of the infield being a lefty, it's going to move Austin over. So a bunt really, you know, it might help you, but you might as well just let him swing away and see what happens.
So no balls and 1 strike to the number 2 hitter for the Wolfpack, and that ball's in the dirt. Good stop by Ekman behind the plate to keep Austin at second. So CSP with no outs here in the bottom of the 4th, looking to see if they can capitalize off the leadoff double. And Bryce is looking at that pitch again, so let's see if he can get his bat off the shoulder. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Austin's really drawing the attention of Hagelin here. Bryce going to call time. Good time out there by Bryce. Nice job by Austin to kind of get in the head a little bit of Hagelin.
There's a ball in the dirt, and that's going to get by Ekman, and that's going to advance Austin to third base. So now you're looking, if you're Bryce, you're looking for anything on the ground to the right side of the field, and I find it interesting, Garrett, Frewsburg's immediately pulling the infield way in.
Anything in play here is going to help.
And there's a ball low, so full count here to Bryce Hinsdale with Austin White at third base and no outs. And Frewsburg with infield in, and there's a ball 4 on the outside part of the plate. So after being down early, Bryce Hinsdale gets a walk, and now CSP's got something going here in the bottom of the 4th with runners at first and third and no outs, bringing today's starting pitcher Gabe Roth to the plate so he can help himself out here, Garrett.
Well, I'm going to assume that Bryce is going to be running on this first pitch, get out of the double play, force Frewsburg to bring in that infield again. I'm assuming he'll draw a throw here, but I'd be looking for Bryce to steal second here at some point within this at-bat.
That ball's in the dirt, and that Austin's coming home, and he's going to be in safe, and Bryce is going to advance to second. So on the pass ball, CSP takes the lead, 1-0. A little uncharacteristic, I would think, Garrett, of both Hagelin and Ekman to allow to put the ball in the dirt, number 1, and number 2 to allow that to get by him.
Well, we talked about it. When you get runners in scoring position, you put pressure on the pitcher, and that's what Bryce and Austin have done in this inning. They've put pressure on the pitcher, and they've put pressure on the catcher, and now they take a 1-0 lead here in a big game against a team that really hasn't been down all that often. This is really only the second time that Frewsburg has been down all year. So I'll be interested to see how Frewsburg plays this out, whether they keep Hagelin in. I did mention early on, I believe Garrett Brink is available to go today, so it'll be interesting to see if they want to use him, towards the back half of this game. But CSP is in business, and a nice read there by Austin to get the first run across for the Wolfpack.
So 1-0 Wolfpack here in the bottom of the fourth, no outs, and Bryce Hinsdale stands at second base, and Gabe Roth is at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes, and Gabe's swinging at that pitch, and that's going to be foul. So that's going to even the count at 1.
And if I'm Bryce on second, you saw how long Hagelin was looking back at second when Austin was kind of toying with him. Bryce needs to be able to do the same thing here. It causes the pitcher problems, and it causes him to spike the ball in the dirt and make a tough play for the catcher.
He's put more balls in the dirt in the last 2 batters, Garrett, than he has the entire game.
And they got him out of his rhythm, and that's what was important, is to, get on base, doesn't matter how. As Austin led it off with a double, and that was really the first runner that was really a threat to Frewsburg all day for CSP.
And there's ball 4 to Gabe Roth. So Hagelin, after being very efficient through the first 3, has had a little trouble here in the fourth, and that's going to be now runners at first and second with no outs for the Wolfpack, and brings senior Trent Burchanowski to the plate, senior from Clymer.
He had a single in the first, but ended up getting single in the second, but ended up getting picked off in the second inning. So,
and there's a ball in the dirt again for Hagelin for ball 1.
Just completely out of his rhythm. You can see he's taking more time when he's on the rubber now, trying to just collect himself. He's not working as fast.
Well, there's a ball high and inside for ball 2. So 2 balls and no strikes. Nobody's holding Gabe on here at first, and it's kind of a token hold on Bryce at second base. So be able to get good leads, good secondary leads for base runners. And there he finds the strike zone for strike 1. So 2 balls and 1 strike.
It's very tough for any pitcher to throw a pickoff over to second. So if Bryce wants to get a big secondary lead or even a big lead to start, he can. And you can hear Coach White saying that.
And there's a fly ball deep to right center, and that's going to drop in. So Bryce is on his horse, and Trent, and going to be a stand-up double, but that's going to score Bryce and Gabe Roth. And so CSP takes a 3-0 lead, and that ball was well hit, Garrett, right to the base of the fence.
Yeah, it was right in between the center fielder and the right fielder. Just nobody could make a play on it, and Bryce had to go halfway just to make sure if there was a catch that he didn't get picked off at all. And Gabe was right behind him. Gabe was running right on contact.
They crossed home plate about the same time, and there's first pitch foul to take Catanese. So again, 3-0 Wolfpack with 3 runs across the board here in the bottom of the fourth, with a runner at second and still no outs. There's a big swing and a miss for Tate. So Hagelin up early, no balls and 2 strikes. And there's a ground ball to third. He's going to come up throwing, and that's going to get Tate out at first. So out number 1. Good job getting bat on the ball for Tate, and that's going to leave Trent, because that ball was to the left side of the field. That's going to leave Trent at second. So, and that's going to bring Grant Lictus to the plate. And ball in the dirt. Great stop by Ekman behind the plate to keep Trent at second.
And there is some action in the Frewsburg bullpen as Gruber, number 14, is behind their dugout throwing a little bit. So I'll be interested to see how long they stick with Hagelin here.
And there's ball 2. So the CSP junior Grant Lictus is up early in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Runner at second base with 1 out. And there he looks at strike one, so 2-1. The issue here, Garrett, as you know, with Frewsburg, they can hit from 1 to 9, so no lead is safe, no lead is big enough against this team. So you want to continue to chalk up and stack runs together here.
Well, CSP is so far 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position. You'd like to make it 3 for 3 here with Grant driving in Trent. You got to get as many runs in as possible, and when you have runners in scoring position against a good team like this, you have to cash in.
There's a ball outside, so full count here, I think, to Grant Lictus. Dylan Michael will be on deck. And there's ball 4, so second walk of the inning for Hagelin. And that's going to bring Dylan Michael to the plate. And with CSP runners at first and second. And Ekman behind the plate wants to have a little conference with Hagelin. Hagelin shaking his head over towards the dugout because I think he knows he's on the verge of maybe getting the yank.
Well, I'll be interested to see here because Dylan Michael was one of the better bunting players on this team. I'll be interested to see if they want to play a little small ball here with 2 outs, or with one out, excuse me, and maybe draw that third baseman in. And Dylan's a fast enough player where he can, bunt for a base hit. That third baseman's playing way
back, Garrett, way back. And there's a ball hit to right field, and that is well hit over his head, and that's going to have ground rule double. So that's going to one hop over the fence. So ground rule double for Dylan Michael, and that's going to score Trent Burchanowski from second, and that's going to make it 4-0 CSP, and that might have been one batter too many for Hagelin, Garrett.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. But we were talking about how good Frewsburg's lineup is from 1 through 9. Well, CSP's lineup 1 through 9 is also very good.
CSP is showing me today that their lineup is pretty good 1 through 9.
Well, when you have a record of 11-3, 10-2, it's not easy to win baseball games. And when you have a lineup that's this stacked. Both teams have a lineup that's this stacked. They're going to have good records, but Dylan Michael coming up big there with a ground rule double, and looks like we're going to have pitching change with Gruber coming in for Frewsburg.
So as they take a break and get warm-ups here, we'll take a break with them and be right back. CSP leading 4-0, still midway through the bottom of the 4th, and we'll see a pitching change once we get back.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Coverage of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is brought to you in part by Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, a leading provider of new, heat-treated, and recycled pallets and wood services since 1993.
Welcome back, where CSP leads by a score of 4-0. We're midway through the 4th inning with 1 out, and Frewsburg makes a pitching change, relieving Chase Haglund and bringing in Gruber, number 14, and with men on second and third for the Wolfpack with one out, and that's going to force Frewsburg to bring their infield in. And that ball's low and inside for ball 2, so 2-0 to Copta.
So the final line for Chase Haglund had 5 hits, 4 earned runs against him, and 3 walks. He also had 5 Ks as well. So a little bit uncharacteristic with the walk total, and that's kind of what set this inning off for the Wolfpack.
So Gruber comes in, and he immediately is down 3 balls and no strikes to Copta. Got first base open. And there's a ball on the inside called a strike. So 3-1. And as I mentioned, Frewsburg wanting to limit the damage here brings their defense well in on the grass. Try to keep that runner at third. And I missed a pitch somewhere along the way because I think now it's
3-2.
3-2?
Yep.
Okay. So full count to Blake Copta. And good job there by Blake to get bat on the ball foul, so he stays alive.
And what CSP does really well is it just doesn't make it any easier. Just doesn't get any easier for the pitchers, and they are, Blake had a really good at-bat in the 3rd inning after he grounded out to the shortstop, but he's having another one here as he fouls another pitch off.
Yeah, he's making at both of his at-bats, Garrett, he's made the pitcher work.
Yes.
So 2 foul balls here, and that's going to bring stays at full. And there's a ball high, so excellent at bat for Blake Copta. So CSP here with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th has got bases loaded, and that's going to bring Caden Beckrink to the plate, who grounded out to second in his 1 plate appearance.
So it looks like Frewsburg's going to bring the corners in and keep the middle out as that ball's fouled off by Caden. So a little interesting defensive strategy. The double play is on for Frewsburg, but any bunt or any suicide squeeze play, they are going to have it covered here.
And there's strike 2. So Caden down early, no balls and 2 strikes. And as Garrett mentioned, 1st and 3rd, because can be hard to see on Facebook Live, 1st and 3rd are in. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and so that is going to make my point mute because they're going to now back up into their regular defensive positions. But CSP now batted around this inning because Austin let us off, and now Austin White's going to come to the plate with 2 outs, bases loaded. So need a base hit here if you're the Wolfpack, because as we mentioned, we want to stack runs on top of each other. 4 is not enough against this high-powered Frewsburg offense. And there's a first pitch strike. So Gruber ahead early, no balls and 1 strike. Runners are not being held on, so big leads all across the board. Austin led this inning off with a double with a shot down first base line.
Was able to score on a wild pitch later in this inning. He kind of started the whole train.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And there's a swing and a miss, and Grant's going to get thrown out at third. Good throw by Ekman. And so CSP is going to strand the bases loaded, but not until they get 4 across the board. And after 4, CSP leads 4-0. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Support for Wolfpack baseball coverage on the Channel 98.9 Sports Stream is provided by Countertop Solutions in Clymer. Go Wolfpack from Countertop Solutions.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Support for CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by Clymer Hardware and Home Center, serving the Clymer area since 1873 with all your hardware needs at 8746 West Main Street and online at clymerhardwareandhomecenter.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack from Clymer Hardware and Home Center.
Welcome back to CSP Wolfpack Baseball on Channel 98.9. We want to thank each and every one of the sponsors who support the CSP Wolfpack Baseball and this broadcast. Their sponsorship allows this to take place, so I would encourage you, if you listen to the sponsors in the between innings and you're in the town and area that they are in, I would encourage you to stop in and patronize and support those businesses. They've been great over the course of the past 2 years as we've brought you CSP Wolfpack Baseball here on Channel 98.9. And so after 4 innings, it is CSP 4, Frewsburg nothing, in a matchup of the number 1 and number 2 teams in the league. And CSP right now has got the upper hand as we head into the top of the 5th. Gabe Roth is going to get his 5th inning of the game, and we're going to see 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Bears. So that's going to bring Vincent Sanfilippo to the plate.
If you're Frewsburg, you got to really hope that your bottom of the order can get something started like CSP's bottom of the order did in the last half inning.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. So 2 balls and 1 strike to Sanfilippo.
We were talking at the break how much longer can Gabe go, and I think he doesn't have that many pitches on his arm, so I think he could probably, if he has an efficient inning this inning, he could probably go 6, and if they really want to extend him out, maybe he could go 7.
Let's get through this inning first, and
yeah, like I said, you got to have an efficient inning here.
Yep. And that's not the way we want to start that off, with a leadoff walk. So Sanfilippo is on first base with no outs, and that's going to bring Harrison Eckert to the plate. Big first baseman for the Frewsburg Bears, lefty.
He struck out in the 3rd inning, so we'll be looking to get something in play here.
First pitch was a ball low, so Gabe needs to find the strike zone here, and they might have gotten him. Boy, that was close. That was close, Garrett.
Yeah, I think Gabe's going to ask. I think Coach Moreno's also going to ask because
as well.
It's the same play that Trent got picked off as well, and I think he wants to ask the home plate umpire, see if he got a different view here. And I really do think he was out. And Trent, we were talking about, I think Trent was also out on his pickoff, but good job by Coach Moreno to ask this field umpire to consult with the home umpire, because he also has a view at it. It's a little bit tougher on 2nd and 3rd, but it's such a quick move by Gabe. So we'll see what the umpires decide here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine checking with the home plate umpire, but I'm fine checking with the home plate umpire, but at the end of the day, this guy's got the best angle.
Yep.
And he called him safe, so that was close.
It was definitely, it was definitely smart to check. But we'll see if Gabe goes back here because Frewsburg is getting some pretty big leads here.
And there's a foul, so I believe the count after all that little mess is 1-1.
Yep.
And they got him there.
And Dad, to be honest with you, he was safe by a mile, but it's definitely a makeup call after that first one because he was most definitely out on that first pickoff. But, you know, you get a makeup call sometimes from the umpires, and nice move there by Gabe.
Yeah, good move by Gabe. So he gets out number 1 of the inning. And Frewsburg coach wants to have a discussion on it.
And, you know, this could also be, you know, Frewsburg's kind of known for this. Gabe is in a little bit of a rhythm here, and he's moving quickly, and he's getting these batters pretty fast within counts. And even though he started off this inning with a leadoff walk, he's been really efficient throughout the entire game. And sometimes, you know, these Frewsburg coaches, they like to slow things down a little bit, and that's just another kind of scheme that they like to play. They've done it for years. So take a slow trot across the field and talk to the field umpire.
Well, not only do you do that, but you take a slow walk across the field and talk to our pitcher.
Yeah, it's also
which is, you don't see that very often.
Nope, Gabe just got to recollect himself here. He was able to get that out now, and now he has to get Eckert at the plate.
So after that little delay, Gabe's struggling a little bit finding the strike zone. So I think it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
That's what I have. Yep.
To the number 8 hitter here, Harrison Eckert. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 2, so that's going to bring the count to full.
Again, just one more really good pitch that Gabe needs to throw here. He doesn't want to give a good team like Frewsburg more base runners than they need.
And Eckert stays alive with a foul ball back behind the fence, so remains full. CSP defensively in traditional format here. There's a swing and a miss. The ball's in the dirt, so Grant's going to tag him for out number 2. So strikeout for Gabe Roth, and so after a pickoff at first base and a strikeout, CSP's got 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, and that's going to bring the number 9 hitter, Draven DeJesus, to the plate.
6 Ks today for Gabe, and just I don't think there's a bigger one than that. He really needed to get himself under control and get that out, and he did, and now he's got the 9 hitter. But like we mentioned, the 9 hitter is not to take lightly. DeJesus got a single in the 3rd inning.
And there's a pitch on the outside part of the plate for strike 1. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, this is the one that went right between the, Bryce and Trent.
Yep.
Got to Caden in right field. And that's low and outside for ball 2. So 2 balls and 1 strike here in the top of the 5th. CSP leads 4-0 with 2 outs.
Gabe hasn't had a 1-2-3 inning since the 2nd inning. So he's down here 3-1, and you know he could get a 1-2-3 inning here, but you don't want to give Frewsburg more opportunities with the stacked lineup that they have.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 2, so full count here to DeJesus, and if I'm Gabe, I'm just going to rock it back and try to fire that fastball and see if he can catch up to it.
No, I'm going to have to agree with you. Nowhere to put him, just see if you can hit your best pitch.
And that ball is going to get by in the dirt for ball 4. So 2nd walk of the inning for Gabe, and that's going to bring the top of the order to the plate, Chase Hagelin for Frewsburg.
Yeah, and you got to give credit where credit's due. That was a great at-bat by DeJesus. He's had 2 really good at-bats today with a single and now a walk on a 3-2 count. So you got to give credit where credit's due and see if Frewsburg can make some noise here.
Yeah, that ball's inside for ball 1. And to me, Garrett, with a 4-0 lead and 2 outs in the inning, I don't really care too much about this runner at first base. I'm more worried, particularly with it being the top of the order. If I'm Gabe, I'm more worried about just working the batter.
No, and I'm going to have to agree with you. And I think, if you're Coach Marino, I think you're going to, relay that message to Gabe with no pickoff attempts here. There's no reason to even risk it over here. And, this has been not a very efficient inning for Gabe. He's had to throw a bunch of pitches as well. So you want to keep his pitch count as low as possible so he can keep going within this game.
So
and, he's down 2-1 here.
That's going to make the count 2-1. Yeah, there's 3-1. So Gabe trying to get himself out of this inning. Top of the 5th with 2 outs.
And Gabe really hasn't had – that ball's inside.
Ball's
it's going to be
inside.
another walk.
So 2 straight walks, his 3rd of the inning. And Hagelin's going to reach base on a base on ball. So he's 3 for 3 as far as reaching base today. And that's going to bring Peyton Dustin to the plate with runners at first and second. And there's a pop-up that's going to get just foul out of play here down the first base side.
That could have been huge for CSP if that ball stayed in play.
If they can try to get a easy out,
yeah,
that would be ideal.
Gabe really hasn't – this is the first time Gabe really's had pressure on the bases in this inning. But it just feels like this – with getting that 4-0 lead, you just feel like there's a lot more pressure.
There's a pop-up right there. And Gabe's going to try to handle that himself on the infield, and he does. So CSP gets much needed out there, and Frewsburg strands 2, and CSP leads at the half-inning point of the 5th inning by a score of 4-0. And Garrett, rather than going to break, I wanted – a lot of times we've got listeners on today who have who through football and listening to CSP football on Channel 98.9 have kind of watched you grow up. And so I think it would be good for you to kind of maybe give the viewers and listeners a little bit of an update on what you've been up to the last 3 years as you completed your junior year at Washington Jefferson, and maybe give us a quick update of what you've been up to and what you've got planned for the summer, because I know you got a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, so just finished my junior year on Monday. Just finished my science requirement for graduation, so I do plan on graduating early next winter, which is crazy to say. So I'm already in my senior year. It feels like yesterday where I was just suiting up for CSP in my senior year. So it's a little bit different, but get to go to Italy next week with my football team. We're going to play a game over there. I'm actually going to get the start against the Italians, so that should be fun. And then this summer I'm going to work down with the Pitt football program and their player personnel department. So that includes some prospect evaluation, some scouting, some recruiting. So that should be good for my resume. And then we're working on some other stuff maybe for later in the summer, but that stuff hasn't come to fruition yet, so we'll wait on that. But yeah, heading into the senior season of football, and we're looking to have a good year this year. Hopefully we can win a conference championship, because that it's been 6 years since W&J's won a conference championship, so we're going to look to rewrite that this year. So very exciting times, and I'm excited to go to Italy next week, so it should be fun.
Yeah, it's a great experience, and you can graduate with a great education and hopefully a job afterwards, and a trip to Italy. That's a pretty good 4 years.
Yeah.
And 4 years on the football program, playing for Coach Mike Sirianni, and it'd be it's a great college career. So that gives the viewers a little bit of an update on Garrett, which I know probably most of you would enjoy. So as we get to the bottom of the fifth, CSP leads by a score of 4-0, and Austin White, after pickoff in the bottom of the fourth, Austin White's going to get another at bat here, and he's going to lead us off. And we're going to see 1, 2, and 3 hitters for the Wolfpack here in this inning.
This is a full count right now for Austin, so he's just trying to fight, stay alive here, and maybe get on base, start another inning where CSP can hopefully score some runs and get some more insurance.
And there's a hit well to left field that may be trouble, but no. Left fielder comes in. That's number 11, Maddox Sheasley. So he comes in and makes the catch for out number 1. So good contact by Austin White. Just had a little bit too much air underneath that.
Yeah, it looked like Sheasley had a tough time getting a read on that. He may have slipped out there in the outfield, but nevertheless he makes the play, and Bryce looks at ball 1.
There's a swing and a miss at a high fastball for strike 1. So that's going to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. CSP leading 4-0 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Bryce is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout, and he also walked in the 4th.
And there's a base hit right back up the middle. So Bryce Hinsdale with his first single of the game, and that's going to give the Wolfpack their first base runner of the inning. So with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th, that's going to bring Gabe Roth to the plate.
I'm interested to see what Coach Moreno does with Bryce here as he gets checked on over here at first. But when you have such a good hitter like Gabe at the plate, sometimes those hitters don't want runners in motion, and they just want to focus on getting on base. So we'll see what Coach Moreno does here with Bryce on first.
Ekman behind the plate's Ekman behind the plate for the Frewsburg Bears, thrown out 2 CSP base runners today. So big arm behind the plate. And there's ball 2. So 2 balls and no strikes to the senior from Panama. And there's a foul back behind the plate, so that's going to make it 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike to Gabe Roth, runner at first with 1 out. And there's strike 2, so that evens it up at 2. And if you're Gabe, at the very least, you want to make contact and see if you can advance Bryce to second.
No, that's right. And you want to avoid a double play, but you also want to put the ball in play as well.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and they try to check Bryce down at first, and he's in safely. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th, and that's going to bring Trent Burchanowski to the plate. Trent with a stand-up double back in the 4th inning that scored 2. So he kind of got us going back in that inning, and he looks at ball 1.
Well, I think if he hits a similar ball here at this at-bat, I would assume, Bryce is going to be able to score. He's going to be running.
Bryce is running on contact.
Yep, he's running with 2 outs. So anything in the gap here would be ideal for CSP, but a base hit would also work for the Wolfpack. Keep the pressure on.
There's a ball outside, so 2 balls and no strikes to the cleanup hitter for CSP. Bottom of the 5th, 4-0 Wolfpack. All 4 of those runs coming in the 4th. And there's a big swing and a miss for Trent. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Trent's going to Penn State Barron next year. play some baseball. So congrats to him on a good high school career. It's not over quite yet, but he's definitely got the capability of playing at the next level for sure.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the bottom of the bottom of the 5th. And that ball's foul, so Trent stays alive. 2-2. Yeah, he just foul tip there, so.
He's most definitely on this fastball. He just got to straighten it out a little bit, stay down through it. But he's right on it. He's got his timing down. He's got to get a pitch to hit here.
There's a ball outside, so going to be full count. It's good at bat here by Trent. Making Gruber work. Gruber coming in relief during the 4th inning of Hagelin. Bryce with a big lead here at first. And there goes Bryce. And that's foul back.
Well, with 3-2 and 2 outs, he's most likely he's definitely going to be in motion.
Yep.
So he can get a little bit of a bigger lead here. Doesn't want to get picked off, but still wants to be able to get a good jump in case the ball is hit, and maybe he can score.
They're going to check Bryce back at first. So full count here to Trent with 2 outs. So on the pitch, Bryce is running. See if Trent can find a hole somewhere. And that ball's outside for ball 4. So nice at bat for Trent Burchanowski, and that's going to bring Panama sophomore Tate Catanese to the plate with runners at first and second and 2 outs.
And I think the Frewsburg coaches disagreed with that call there, as I just believe I saw the ump just kind of tell him to just be quiet over there.
So pitch number 1 is high and outside for ball 1. And there's a pitch inside.
Sure, Tate does not appreciate that ball being up in his kitchen like
that. No, that was pretty tight there. And knowing the little bit that I know of Tate, he is not going to take kindly to that. So first and second, 2 outs, 2 balls and no strikes to the batter. There's a swing and a miss, and he's back, and Bryce is going to take off for third. So heads up base running for Bryce Hinsdale as they try to pick off the guy at first. And Trent was able to get back in time. So Trent's got a little bit of dirt in his eye.
Well, and that's what, you talk about good base running. That's what separates the good teams from the great teams, is being able to take advantage of situations like that. And just a good read by Bryce on the throw from the catcher.
And good job by Trent, to be honest with you, Garrett, by forcing the throw.
Yeah, no, that's right.
You got to be aggressive to get that to work, and he did. So now I wouldn't be surprised to see Trent running here, and there he goes, and that ball, and Bryce is gonna. Bryce is gonna be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't block the plate.
No.
And Trent's going to make his way to third. So you can't be in the baseline or you're going to get run over.
Yeah, and that's what. Well, the Frewsburg coach is going to ask for the home plate umpire to talk to the field umpire, but the catcher never gave any room for Bryce to be able to get to the plate. So if this call is reversed, somebody should go crazy on these umpires, because this is just not a call that should be overturned. The catcher gave no room for Bryce to be able to get to home, and the only way he could have done it without running him over is jump over him. And you can't ask a player to do that. So
no.
He's going to run right through him, and
so he's safe, and that's going to be run number 5 for the Wolfpack. And Frewsburg down is getting a little rattled here.
I think everybody in that dugout is getting rattled. I think everybody on the field for Frewsburg is getting rattled. And this is, they're just trying to drag this out.
Yep.
And I don't.
All right, we're going to we'll take a break with them. We'll be right back.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Coverage of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is brought to you in part by Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, a leading provider of new, heat-treated, and recycled pallets and wood services since 1993. Find them online at caflischpallet.com. Phone 716-355-4354. Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services wishes the Wolfpack the best of luck this season.
Support for Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Mosher Carpeting at 8.
All right, welcome back. It's always exciting when it's Frewsburg, and we got a 5-0 lead here for the Wolfpack in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Tate Catanese is going to remain at the plate. I think it's 1 ball. That can't be right.
No, I got 2 balls and 1 strike.
2 balls and 1 strike, and Trent Burchanowski is going to move over to third on all that mess. And there's a foul ball. So 2 balls and 2 strikes to the sophomore from Panama. Two and two. And there's a ground ball. It's slow to third. Here comes the throw, and he's got it. He's in safe. Tate with the hustle, and that's going to score a run. So 6-0 Wolfpack. And that looked like the right call to me, Garrett.
Yeah, he was safe by a mile. And an RBI single for Tate. And he's hit the ball well tonight. He hit a hard ground ball to the third baseman. He is definitely on these pitchers. And that one was a little bit softer, so he was able to get over and beat out the throw. He is a fast kid, and they're going to check on him here. And I don't think he doesn't like that either. As you can tell, his mannerisms, he doesn't like that.
He's having a good conversation with the first baseman.
Yeah.
So there's ball high, and this game quickly took on a different feel to it, Garrett. And
well, when you got the 2 good teams, and it's high pressure, everybody knows the stakes of this game, and it'd be a big confidence boost if CSP was able to give Frewsburg their first loss. So you can definitely feel the energy from both teams.
So 1 ball and 1 strike to Grant Lictus, 6-0 Wolfpack with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. CSP's had 2 outs for, it feels like, quite some time, Garrett, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and they had a little 2-out rally here. They Austin got out on a fly out, and Gabe Roth, the 3-hitter, struck out. So it's been at 2 outs for a little bit here, but they've put 2 runs up on the board, and that's what you need against good teams. You have some 2-out rallies.
And there's strike 3. So CSP strands 1, but they get 2 across the plate to make it 6-0 as we enter, or 6-0 through 5 as we enter the top of the 6th. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
In baseball, these are the moments that bring us to our feet.
But the most important moment happens when we all stand together.
United for a great cause.
So join Major League Baseball and stand up to cancer
As we stand in honor of all loved ones affected by this disease.
I'm Jordana Brewster.
I'm Candace Patton.
Joe Manganello.
I'm Matt Damon, and cancer has in some way touched all of us.
Visit standuptocancer.org/MLB.
Stand up with us.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Welcome back to the campus of Clymer Central School, where CSP leads the Frewsburg Bears by a score of 6-0. As we enter the top of the 6th inning, we're going to see 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Frewsburg Bears. So number 3, Garrett Brink, is going to lead it off. Gabe Roth for the Wolfpack gets his 6th inning of the game.
We'll see how much of a leash Gabe is on here after he had a little bit of an inefficient inning in the last inning. So I don't know exactly what his pitch count is, but we'll be interested to see. He most definitely
they should
went.
check that swing.
Yep.
And he definitely went. So 1 ball and 1 strike to Brink here in the top of the 6th, leadoff hitter.
You know, if you can get a good hitter out like Brink, and that's a big confidence boost for Gabe, and hopefully can propel him to getting out of this inning with no harm done to the Wolfpack's lead.
2 balls and 1 strike. And there's going to be a base hit to right field. That's going to find a hole. So Brink is going to get off with a leadoff hit here in the 6th. And Frewsburg is going to bring Mason Ekman to the plate, catcher for Frewsburg, who's done an outstanding job today. He's thrown out 2 kids and has just done a really nice job behind the plate for the Frewsburg Bears. Gabe checks Brink over at first.
Yeah, I would assume he's going to check him multiple times here. Brink is got some wheels on the base, and he's going to get an aggressive lead.
And there's a pitch on the inside part of the plate that Ekman did not like. And that's going to get by Bryce. And he's going to get him out at second. So not ideal, but good job by Trent Burchanowski, because that throw was not on target.
Well, it doesn't look like he got the throwing genes of the family, because that ball was not on target.
No,
but
that was not on target for sure.
But a nice athletic play by Trent to save Bryce, and probably would have saved an error almost, and big out for CSP.
And there's strike number 2, so got a little bit of everything in this game, to be honest with you. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ekman. And that ball's high for ball 2, 2-2. And that one's high as well. So full count.
Looks like Gabe's trying to bring that breaking ball, and it's just not. He's just not coming over the top of it, not getting the spin on it that he wants. So it's leaving up high in a non-competitive pitch.
And there's a foul ball. So Ekman stays alive. Two balls and 2 strikes. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. And there's a ground ball to short. That pops up high for Austin White, and Bryce is not able to scoop it. And on the pass ball to first, Ekman he didn't even hesitate around first, Garrett. He just kept on going.
Yeah.
And so Austin White had a good stop at first, or at short, and just made a kind of a short arm throw to first, and Bryce was unable to snag it. So Coach Moreno wants a quick conversation with Gabe. And
Austin's got a strong enough arm over there at short. He just needs to fire it in there. But it was a tough play over there for Bryce. He would have liked to maybe see a pick and help a shortstop out a little bit, but now that has a runner in scoring position for Frewsburg, and if things start to snowball here, we got to watch and see how long they let Gabe go.
So 1 out, and the first pitch to Sheasley, Maddox Sheasley, is in for a strike. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 2. So Gabe up early, no balls and 2 strikes. Frewsburg with a runner at second in scoring position, down 6-0. And that ball's in the dirt. Good job by Grant Lictus keeping that ball in front of him, and therefore keeping Ekman at second.
Not a bad pitch there by Gabe, trying to get him fishing. But I'd like to go back on him here and get him out.
And there it is, right on the outside part of the plate for strike 3. So Gabe with an all-important strikeout, and that's out number 2 of the inning. And that's going to bring number 14, Gruber, who came in relief. He's going to bat for Daniel Peterson.
7 Ks now for Gabe, and gets ahead early here again.
And there's strike 2. So no balls and 2 strikes to the Frewsburg hitter. See if Gabe can ring up strikeout number 8. And there he does it. So second strikeout of the inning, and Frewsburg strands a runner at second and get none across. CSP leads by a score of 6-0 as we enter the bottom half of the 6th inning. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
This Wolfpack broadcast is brought to you in part by Cornerstone Restaurant and Bakery at 104 East Main Street in Sherman. The Cornerstone offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and baked goods. The phone number is 716-234-4002, or find them on Facebook. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks the Cornerstone in Sherman for their support.
Support for CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by Clymer Hardware and Home Center. Serving the Clymer area since 1873 with all your hardware needs at 8746 West Main Street and online at ClymerHardwareandHomeCenter.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack from Clymer Hardware and Home Center.
This broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is provided by Land Pro Equipment, the area's authorized John Deere dealer, located at 1756 Lindquist Drive, Faulkner, and 8926 West Main Street in Clymer. Online at landproequip.com. They specialize in agriculture, lawn and garden, and light industrial equipment. The Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream thanks Land Pro Equipment for their support.
Welcome back, where we enter the bottom half of the sixth inning, and CSP leads by a score of 6-0 over the number one league-leading Frewsburg Bears. And CSP in here in the bottom of the sixth is going to bring 7, 8, and 9 hitters to the plate. We were talking off air in regards to, do you bring Gabe Roth out for inning number 7? And I don't see any reason why you don't let him try to finish this thing. He's been very efficient through the first 6 innings, and you've got plenty of stable behind him should he run into any issues in the 7th.
No, and I agree. And CSP plays 2 more games this week, so you kind of want to, keep not go to the bullpen.
Yeah.
And he's facing the 7, 8, 9 hitters. He's had trouble with DeJesus in the 9 hole today, but he's facing the bottom of the order of a really good Frewsburg order. So I think you let him go out there.
So he'll face the bottom of the order in the top of the 7th.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Yep.
All right, so we got some business to take care of here before we get there, and Dylan Michaels is going to lead it off for the Wolfpack, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So 1 batter, 1 strikeout here in the 6th inning for Gruber, and that's going to bring Blake Kopta to the plate.
And, Gruber coming in relief, he really hasn't pitched all that bad. He's only let up 2 runs, but they haven't really been on hard-hit balls.
No, and Garrett, I think he inherited those. Two runners, to be honest with you. Could that be right?
No, he came in the 4th inning, but then in the last inning, in the 5th, he gave up those 2 runs.
Yep,
so,
that's right.
So, but they were only on a single and a walk. So, but they were able to get around the bases, not based off of hits, but based off of kind of misplays and missed throws on pickoff attempts. So he really hasn't given up any hard contact at all.
There's a swing there for Blake that makes contact foul. So 2 strikes on Blake here. This game was going at a pretty good pace and then slowed down a little bit here. But there's strikeout number 2 of the inning for Gruber. And that's going to bring the number 9 hitter, Caden Beckering, to the plate. I know both Clymer and Panama have band concerts, band/chorus concerts tonight. So that's one of the reasons why this game got started a little bit early. And there's a pitch in for a strike to Caden Beckering. So, and there's swing and a miss for strike 2. So Caden down early, no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Gruber's working pretty quickly. He's got himself into a rhythm. He's had back-to-back strikeouts, and that ball's a little high. But you don't really want to help him out here when he's in a rhythm, and Caden has done that.
He's moving pretty quick.
Yep. He's done it twice now, and it's –
there's a swing and a miss, and somebody needs to inform Gruber what the score is after those little shenanigans. But anyways, after six innings, CSP leads by a score of 6-0 and are 3 outs away from giving Frewsburg their first league loss of the season. We'll be right back after these messages.
Funding for this Channel 98.9 Sports Stream broadcast comes from Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer. Family-owned Lictus Oil and Propane continues to supply liquids and fluids for agriculture, industry, and homeowners. Heating oil and propane services and off-and-on diesel fuel services are also offered. The Channel 98.9 Sports Stream thanks Lictus Oil and Propane for their continued support.
Support for coverage of CSP Baseball on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided by Triple E Manufacturing in Sherman. Triple E offers equine products, promotional items, embroidery, and printing services. 800-295-4282 or online at tripleemanufacturing.com.
Funding for this broadcast on the Channel 98.9 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream is provided in part by J. Edwards Insurance. With offices at 9 East Main Street in Panama and 800 West 3rd Street in Jamestown, J. Edwards Insurance is an independent insurance service providing auto, business, farm, and homeowners insurance. We treat you like family. Online at jedwardsinsurance.com. Best of luck to the Wolfpack this season from J. Edwards Insurance, serving New York and Pennsylvania since 1957.
Coverage of CSP Wolfpack Baseball is brought to you in part by Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, a leading provider of new, heat-treated, and recycled pallets and wood services since 1993. Find them online at caflischpallet.com. Phone 716-355-4354. Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services wishes the Wolfpack the best of luck this season.
Welcome back as we enter the 7th inning where CSP leads by a score of 60-0. So CSP 3 outs away from notching win number 12 on the season and giving Frewsburg their first league loss of the year. And Gabe Roth, today's starting pitcher, is going to come out for the 7th inning and face the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. So that's going to be Sanfilippo with a leadoff single. That was a good shot down the third base line. And so they get their leadoff man on.
Well, I saw Coach Marino kind of talk to Gabe before he started his warm-up pitches, and I wonder if he gave him kind of like a limit here to see how long he goes in this inning.
And there's strike to Big Harrison Eckert, number 33.
And something that I've noticed over the past 2 innings is Gabe has been a lot more efficient when he's out of the stretch. He doesn't really he just takes like a quick slide step, and that is making him go quicker as this ball is right up the middle.
And there's going to be a double play potential, and there it is. So double play started off by Austin White. That ball was grounded to short. He stepped on the bag and threw it to first. So CSP with now 2 outs here in the top of the 7th, and Frewsburg's down to their last out. Good job by Austin White there to step on the bag and throw it to first.
Well, he made a much better throw than he did in the inning before. He made a very strong throw over to Bryce, and it was tailor-made double play for the Wolfpack.
So that first pitch to DeJesus is a ball.
And DeJesus hasn't gotten out tonight. So, like you mentioned, when CSP played over in Frewsburg, he had some CSP pitchers had some trouble getting DeJesus out, and they're having trouble. Gabe is having trouble again tonight as he has a single and a walk.
There's a swing and a miss, so 2 balls and 1 strike to DeJesus. CSP with a 6-0 lead here in the top of the 7th with 2 outs, looking to go to 12-3 on the season.
That breaking ball just missed. It was a backdoor breaking ball, and just a little bit high for Gabe.
3 balls and 1 strike to the batter. And there's ball 4, so DeJesus is going to get on, and that's going to bring the top of the order to the plate, Chase Haglin. And that base runner, Garrett, puts Gabe back in the stretch, which you commented you liked him there before. So there's a pop-up just beyond second, and Trent Burchanowski is underneath it. And that is out number 3, and CSP with a 6-0 victory over the Frewsburg Bears. And that's going to give Frewsburg their first loss of the season. in the league. And good job by Trent squeezing that. That ball acted like it wanted to come out of his glove a little bit. But
yeah. Well, it's just a gutsy performance from Gabe. I kind of mentioned in the pregame how he needed to get going early and pound the strike zone. He did exactly that, was very efficient. Really the only trouble that he had was in the 5th inning, but still let up no runs and just had a very, very solid outing for the Wolfpack, an outing that they needed. And that moves them to 12-3. And just a gutsy performance from Gabe. He's 100% my player of the game. Just a great all-around performance from everybody.
Yeah, seven shutout innings for Gabe Roth with, 8 or 9 strikeouts?
8 strikeouts.
8 strikeouts.
Yep.
So on senior day here in Clymer, the senior from Panama comes up big for the Wolfpack. And Garrett commented on it, but that's going to take Frewsburg's record to 15-3 on the year, 12-1 in league play. And that's going to move CSP to 12-3 and 11-2. So although, and Pat and I touched on this last week when we were talking, although this probably doesn't mean a ton in the standings, Garrett, because CSP had that bad loss to Brockton.
Yeah.
And so it makes this game not as, doesn't have an impact on the standings, but from a confidence standpoint, to me, it really gives CSP and particularly Gabe gives him a lot of confidence as we finish out the year and as we try to make our way into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it shows that CSP that they can beat anybody, even the teams that are 11-0 in league. They can hang with anybody if you get good pitching, and they stay solid defensively and put the ball in play. They can hang with anybody, and it doesn't matter if it's Portville, Gowanda, Frewsburg, Holland. They can play with anybody, and I think tonight just showed that. And I think that moving forward. With two more games this week, I just think that this win will help them, have a boost into the playoffs instead of having maybe a loss tonight. You start the playoffs with a dud, but tonight was a big win from a confidence standpoint, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and we really got Gabe obviously was the star of the game, but he had good defense behind him. Yeah. CSP once again no errors in the game, and then we really had good hitting from 1 to 9 today, and got clutch hitting at the right times. Trent Burchanowski with a big stand-up double, Dylan Michael with a stand-up double.
Yep.
And there's a common theme: Dylan Michael, Trent Burchanowski, Gabe Roth, all senior baseball players for CSP that are going out on a winning note here. Yep. Tate Newman is also a senior. So just real quick, Blake Kopta, Tate Newman, Gabe Roth, Dylan Michael, Drake DiDomenico,
Skylar
Burke, Austin White, Trent Burchanowski. Those are your seniors. Andrew Nelson. Those are your seniors for the CSP Wolfpack, and each and every one of them provided contribution to the win today. So nice job by the seniors. And so CSP concludes their regular season with a game at Pine Valley on Thursday night, and then concludes the regular season on Saturday with a 10 a.m. start time at Salamanca. So two road games to finish up the year, but CSP very efficient for in the game today. So for guest visitor Garrett Hinsdale, and you'll hear him the rest of the week on Thursday and Saturday, but for Garrett Hinsdale, I'm Kyle Hinsdale. CSP with a huge 6-0 win over the number 1 team, Frewsburg Bears. We will see everybody on Thursday night. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast of CSP Wolfpack Baseball on the Channel 989 Lictus Oil and Propane Sports Stream at channel989.org. This broadcast is presented by J. Edwards Insurance in Panama and Jamestown, Mosher Carpeting in Clymer, Land Pro Equipment in Clymer and Falconer, Caflisch Pallet and Wood Services in Clymer, the Cornerstone Restaurant in Sherman, Clymer Hardware and Home Center.com, Triple E Manufacturing, TripleEMFG.com, Countertop Solutions, and by Lictus Oil and Propane in Clymer, LictusOilAndPropane.com. Tune in next time for all the action of CSP Wolfpack Baseball.